Why is there so much spam? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. Yeah, you get it, I get it, we all get it, but why? Given that we all do nothing more than ignore it, why is there so much spam? Here's the question I got. Between bouts of frustration with my inbox, I've been reading your various articles on spam. I think I'm slowly getting a handle on it all, but it sure seems crazy, and it really got me to wondering, why is there so much spam in the first place? I did an analysis some years ago. I looked at all of my email for a calendar year, and I determined that fully 87% of it was spam. Now, fortunately, got good spam filters in place. Most of it doesn't bother me. It ends up in the spam folder, so I don't have to pay any attention to it. That's fine, but why is there so much to begin with? Well, first of all, let's define what spam is. I define spam as simply unsolicited mail, email you didn't ask for. That's a fairly broad definition, but I think it probably applies to most people. From a legal perspective, there are different definitions. There's unsolicited commercials, email, and any number of other scenarios. In my case, if a friend sends me an email, by my definition, I could decide that that's spam. By a legal definition, of course, that's not necessarily the case. But one of the issues is very simply that spam doesn't need to work all that often in order for it to be profitable. So, for example, let's say that a spammer sends out 10 million emails pushing something, a knockoff drug, a body part enhancement, a website, whatever. Even if only one person, one out of 10 million, falls for the scam, falls for whatever it is the spammer is pushing, it probably was profitable. Sending spam costs almost nothing. So it really doesn't take much. If even the tiniest percentage of spam email results in a sale or a catch or a whatever, then it's going to continue because that's all it takes. Now, one of the questions I also get is, but these spam messages, they're so obvious. I would never fall for such a thing. Good for you. Seriously. I'm glad that you feel that way. There are two things that are happening. One is there's a lot of really ugly spam out there, spam that is to you and me very, very obvious. Do not overestimate the ability for people to fall for things. For example, there's the so-called 419 scam, the Nigerian scam. I think we've probably all heard of it before. It's been around forever. It predates computers, right? It goes back to fax machines, if I'm not mistaken. This is one of those cases where you get a message from somebody that's trying to leave some foreign country and they've got some money and they need help getting it out of the country. And if you can help them get it out of the country, then they'll give you a percentage. But it requires a little bit of money from you to get the process started. That's a scam. It's obviously a scam. It's been around forever. Nobody would fall for that, right? Guess what? $100 to $200 million are lost to those kind of scams every year. People are still falling for these same old scams. Now, there are improvements in the scamming world. People are falling for the old stuff, the badly worded stuff, the poor English, all that kind of stuff. They're still falling for that. But scammers are also getting better. There are scams now that are being written in proper English, that are doing enough things to make it look just legitimate enough that they're appealing to people's greed and causing them to bypass the normal skepticism that they might have when they receive one of these messages. One of the other things that they do, of course, is what we've often referred to as phishing, right? They send email that looks like it comes from somebody you trust, inviting you to do something that you probably shouldn't do, be it purchase a product or log into a website or whatever. Again, they're playing on your trust to make it look like they are somebody that they are not, be it, again, email from a friend, but the from address was spoofed, or a sign-in to a service you use, except that the sign-in page they send you to is their clone of that page so that they can capture your login information. They're getting relatively sophisticated, but the problem is it doesn't take much to work. We go back to that. If they send out 10 million or 100 million of these messages, and Lord knows they do, it only takes a few to fall for whatever the trick happens to be for the spam to be successful, for the spam to be worth it, and for the spam to continue. So, why is there so much spam? Because it works. That's really the only answer. And yes, I know everybody keeps throwing out, well, we could solve spam if we did this, or we could solve spam if we did this. We could just, require everybody to have an identity or pay per message or any number of things. You know what? All of those ideas are great in theory. Pragmatically, getting the entire email infrastructure updated to enforce such a thing, it's not realistic. It's not going to happen. The best thing, honestly, really, the only thing that you and I can and should be doing is if we find spam in our inbox, mark it as spam and move on with our day. Hopefully, you've got a good enough spam filter that the majority, 87% of all my email from that year automatically lands in the spam folder. And yeah, I get way more mail in my spam folder than I do in my inbox. But that's the system working. That's how it should be in the light of the fact that spam exists. Spam will continue to exist, again, because it works. I wish I had better news for you. For comments, for updates, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/2534. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.